Sparta is in turmoil. Alevas, that treacherous idiot, has started a civil war. In my personal opinion, rightfully so. It was wrong for Acrotatus to declare himself as emperor. Not only because of his high-ranking generals turned against him, but also because his many allies did the same. Egypt, their righteous trade partner, now looked upon Sparta with new eyes. Our Bosporan neighbors too. Timarchus, the prince of Sarmatia and son-in-law of the emperor, knew something had to be done. The Megas Basilius had to die. However, with the recent events, Acrotatus will be on his guard. For now, all he could do was scheme and gather support for the plot. Gallienus, although he bent the knee to Acrotatus, was still a reckless dog. And old too. The best man to help in the assassination of the King of Kings. Something he had recognized as well. He was replaced and later killed in his sleep. The mad hound of Sparta was finally put to rest. With all the wrongdoings throughout his life, Gallienus will still be remembered as the brilliant strategist who saved Sparta from disaster. Eugenios, the heir to the throne, was in a peculiar situation. He was well aware of his father's deeds. He knew the danger that followed and didn't want to be on the losing side of it. Besides, if the emperor was to fall, Eugenios would be the new emperor. He was a proven leader, having fought on the front lines ever since reaching adulthood. The best possible reputation of a Spartan ruler could ever have. Not now, not yet. First, he had to deal with the Spartan rebels before the news of this uprising spread to the other kingdoms around them. Diodorus, the man formerly accused of plotting against the emperor, was pardoned and tasked to muster a new army in Germania to pacify the Alps. A lengthy and expensive objective that never should have been ordered. Or just with a different commander perhaps. In Thrace the same would happen, but with the former governor of Dacia as the commander. Just a precaution in case the Macedonians do anything foolish. Alevas, the scheming fool, didn't have a plan to escape after his uprising. Instead, he hid in the dense forests of Illyria with Homer, an even bigger fool, right next to him, who had no idea of his location and how easily he could end it all. Eugenios, however, was no fool and hastily conquered one city after another, slowly mopping up the Danube villages. Hearing of this, Alevas made a brave last stand, dying fighting for what he believed in, like a true Spartan compared to another certain ruler. Homer would follow up by moving down and crushing their last rebelling towns. As if the Romans smelled a wounded animal lying in the woods, Antonius, the governor of Greece, laid siege to St. With the besieging army outside the walls, the Celtic majority living in the region saw an opportunity to rise up as well. Eugenios was the only one in position to deal with it, but with an intense winter, he couldn't reach the Roman invaders in time. Getting back to Dacia was almost impossible. Still loyal to the Spartan uprising, some of the towns converted back to their rebellious state. It had to be so. St. was our greatest defense from the Illyrians and Macedonians. He broke the siege and caught the Romans on top of a cliff. Getting this close, it was clear to see that Antonius had nowhere to run. The man who laid waste to Greece was finally within our grasp. He had to be stopped. Our elite hoplites will encircle the hill, denying them any sort of exit. Meanwhile that is going on, our helots and Germanic forces will flank them, running up the road and attacking with swift speed. the Sarmatians took control of a nearby hill. For a while the Romans' forces scrabbled around to form up, but eventually they seized the road and charged downhill towards our lines. It was so unexpected, the Spartan left flank was vulnerable. Eugenios personally would do whatever he could to hold it. As our helots closed in from the side and our cavalry harassing their backs, our plan succeeded. Antonius and his Roman forces had nowhere to go. The Prince of Sparta just kept on impressing. His valor in battle secured Singidum. With Rome pushed back and the Celtic rebels broken, just gave him further fame among the population. He was fit to rule, which encouraged the idea of Acrotatus being usurped. With the Germanic army almost finished in the north, Herodotus, the replacement of Gallienus, received the honor to take Illyria and its valuable wharves for a future invasion of Italy. Noria would be left vulnerable to attacks from Cisalpine Gaul, but Diodorus could always make a counterattack. Herodotus quickly proved why he was chosen as the successor of Gallienus, killing well over 5,000 Scordisi warriors on the field, barely losing 300 himself, quickly following it up with a vast occupation of Ida, a blitzkrieg practically, as the remaining settlements fell with the assistance of a Carthaginian strike force from Magna Graecia and Epirus. If only this was the end. Peace in our time? No. Way back when Sparta still held land in Greece, they were allies to the Illyrians, fighting side by side against the Italic threat. But after the death of our former king Arius, and as Gallienus unofficially took over, Sparta left the Illyrians in the dirt to defend for themselves. Surrounded from all sides, a deed not so easily forgotten by them. The Spartan garrison of Ida was overthrown by civilians, even killing one of the richest men of Sparta. A planned and well thought out strategy, as when Herodotus marched north to take it back with his weakened army, an Illyrian pirate fleet arrived taking command over the southern ports again. As Diodorus arrived at Noria, he felt as if he needed to prove himself after being away from the battlefield for so long. Instead of hiding behind the walls, he took up a position in between the mountains, away from any reinforcements. With both a Roman and Celtic army on their way, it was very risky. But if not, they could just go east and invade Illyria, which was proven to be surprisingly hard to control. They were even able to take back Taras and Apollonia, due to the Lusitani contesting Carthaginian rule over Iberia. However, they were still kind enough to help deal with some of the Illyrian rebellions, while Herodotus kept running from town to town, just to lose the one he just abandoned right after. This province is simply impossible to hold without further support from either Noria or Dacia. Back in Thrace, Prince Eugenios had received some crucial intel. A large Macedonian army had made a failed assault on Pella. With them both being wounded and focused on the wrong enemy, it was a prime opportunity for Sparta and the Agiad dynasty to finally take revenge on their past crimes and the murder of Illyria. Eugenios organized his army so he had the most elite units available and ordered his father to declare war on them. But as arrogant as he has become since being crowned emperor, he didn't care about the involvement of Egypt, a key trade partner now at war with us and the world looking at us in disgust. The Sarmatian prince took his wooden horses and blocked the Macedonian port. In the meantime, the real battle in Popediva took place, besieging the town, keeping away any reinforcements to arrive when Eugenios personally took care of the armies outside the walls. A decisive victory, showing no mercy to any of the 1,000 captives. Payback for his sister Illyria. They will continue the war effort against the Macedonians while Eugenios eventually will be pushing for Nisus. But in Noria, the situation has gone from bad to worse. It seems that after their countless losses to both Sparta and Carthage, the Romans were lacking the noble manpower to sustain proper infantry. Instead, they have reformed their armies to allow their plebs to join the legion, as they call it. They had even grouped up with the Eraviski outside of Noria. A dangerous stalemate that had to be broken, or else they could carelessly march into Illyria and Pannonia. Diodorus attacked, hoping he could bombard them from a distance with the ballistae. Yet that wasn't the case and lost decisively. Diodorus tried to retreat back to the walls of Noria, but with the slow artillery, they weren't able to reach it in time before they attacked a second time. The garrison tried to reinforce and thus made an unsuccessful yet valiant attempt to hold off the attackers. Who knows what they did to Diodorus after the battle? I bet he wished he was still in that prison. Now the Eraviski took control of the artillery themselves and laid siege to Noria. Within a few months, it would fall. The western border was under severe stress. The Germanic tribes could betray us at a moment's notice, and who knows about the damn east? For all we know, they might be plotting against Sparta as well. Not to forget about the Illyrian pirates causing a war on their own. Enough was enough. Since the death of Galenus and Acrotatus taking full command of the empire, everything has gone from bad to worse. The emperor was sitting comfortably in his hall, far away from the front lines. Not the right place for a Spartan king in a crisis like this. Eugenius had to do something. He ordered Homer, who had been busy pacifying Dacia after their little uprising, to march for Noria in an attempt to liberate it. Same for Herodotus, who was ordered to leave Illyria. Eugenius personally would take over there. Timarchus, however, was given a very specific assignment: travel back to Podorgis, the residence of Acrotatus, and bring an end to his destructive reign once and for all.